Hey guys, it's a bit difficult to focus the camera on one building and then tell you a story about that building. However, I hope that you stick around so that I can tell you all about where the board game Scrabble originated and was developed. I was so excited to come to this location on 35th Avenue in Jackson Heights, Queens, New York, specifically to show you an awesome street sign that was devoted to the game Scrabble. Unfortunately though, because they are collector's items, the street sign was not up in place when I visited the area. So all I can do is show you a picture from the internet of that particular street sign. As you can see in the image, each letter on the street sign has been assigned its equivalent Scrabble value. What is just as interesting about the sign is where it came from. The sign first appeared in 1995, and in 2008 it disappeared. The local community petitioned the two agencies that would have been responsible for the sign, but neither of them claimed to be aware of either its placement or its removal. Could it be that it was simply a fan of the game that installed the sign on the lamppost? In 2011, the sign was officially replaced, but as you can see from my video, sadly, it is no longer there. So why am I focused on this church across the street from me? The church is the Community United Methodist Church, and it plays a vital role in the development of the board game Scrabble. During the Great Depression, around 1931, the inventor of Scrabble, Alfred Mosher Butts, set about developing the game that is now known around the world. Butts was personally an avid lover of both anagrams and crossword puzzles, so he began to put his ideas down to combine the two games together. The initial game that Butts developed was called Lexiko. The idea came to him while he was reading Edgar Allan Poe's short story The Gold Bug. There was a line in the story about English letter distribution, and it was this line that sparked the idea in Butts' mind that his game would be more fun if the most common letters in the English language were also the most common letters in the game. Legend has it that Alfred Butts then studied the front page of the New York Times and marked down the letter distribution frequency for each letter. Initially, Butts simply wrote the letters onto cardboard, and there was no board for the game. All they needed was a flat surface to play the game that would eventually become Scrabble with 100 cardboard tiles. So where does the Community United Methodist Church come into play? Alfred Butts was a Jackson Heights resident, and this is the neighborhood where he developed the game. However, he also needed a place for the game to be played. So right here in the social room of the church that is right in front of us, this is where the first games were played of Lexiko amongst the friends and family of Alfred Mosher Butts. By using playthrough games in the social room of this church, Butts was able to refine his game through trial and error. After 5 to 7 years of development, and after trying to market his idea to game manufacturers, Butts realised that more modifications were needed. So it was in 1938 that Butts made his first board for the game. And through further games taking place in the Methodist Church, Butts also began to add premium squares to the board. The game of Scrabble was now beginning to take shape, and Butts renamed his Lexiko game and now called it Criss-Crosswords. Butts manufactured the new game by himself, completely by hand, and sold the game at $2 a piece. However, as an independent developer of a board game, Butts was not successful in making his game a success. He continued making the game for a few years, but by the time 1947 came around, Butts had stopped production of Criss-Crosswords. A man by the name of James Bruno contacted Butts, seeking the rights to distribute his game. And after paying Butts a royalty, the two men struck a deal that would allow Bruno to manufacture and distribute the game. For the first few years, Bruno and his wife made the letters for the games themselves, but commissioned the boards to be made by a manufacturer. And of course, Bruno had renamed the game and called it Scrabble. For the first few years, James Bruno barely turned a profit, but then, in 1952, he struck gold. The game of Scrabble went from being a cult hit to an international phenomenon. It is believed that an executive at Macy's department store in New York played the game of Scrabble while on vacation, and upon his return he ordered the game onto the shelves of Macy's. Suddenly the Brunos went from manufacturing a few hundred sets a week to 6,000, which of course was beyond the capability of a married couple. The Brunos sold the rights of the game Scrabble to the company that made the boards for them, Selchow and Reiter. In 1952, the company sold 37,000 Scrabble sets. Then, in 1953, they sold 800,000 sets. By 1954, Selchow and Reiter sold 4 million copies of the game of Scrabble. So there you have it. I hope that you enjoyed my short story for today. The story of Alfred Mosher Butts developing a game by the name of Lexiko, which was then played for years in the social room of the Community United Methodist Church, which of course is the very church that is right in front of us. The history and development of one of the most popular games in the world, Scrabble, got its start right in this very location in Jackson Heights, Queens. A game that is now sold in 121 countries around the world and is available in more than 30 languages.